All right, here we are back for another episode of Between Two Biomes. I am Masta Blasta, and
I
we also have
am
somebody else
Mashi.
here, Mashi. How you
Uh,
doing?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. A little tired, but we'll rally and get through another great episode.
Yeah, you had a vacation week, which is sometimes you need vacation from vacation.
Yeah, yes. We took my 7-year-old to Disneyland for his winter break this week. First time he's ever been, and it was a ton of fun. I'm a big fan. Always have been a big Disney fan. Even more so with their acquisition of Marvel and Star Wars and all that good stuff, because that's like right in my
So
wheelhouse.
you
I'm
went to
more that.
Disneyland? Land?
Yeah, we did
Okay.
Disneyland. We checked the calendars across the country, and it looked like a lot of East Coast schools were also off that same week.
Uh,
So instead of doing World, where there was a lot of folks off, we went west to Land, a little smaller, and I will say pretty crowded. And I will also say sunny Southern California was anything but.
oh
It
no.
was
Oh
uh, it
no.
was about 45 and rainy and cloudy the entire time we were there.
Well, that's like Pennsylvania weather this time of year.
Yeah, it was warmer in Colorado, I think. Actually, it wasn't. It was snowing here, but it was good to get away and great to take him. It was his first time. We've been with COVID and stuff over the last few years, we haven't really been gotten him out to go do that in those earlier years when he was 4, 5 and 6, and so this is his first trip out, first roller coasters. I gotta say, there's a handful of times. I hope more than a handful of times that you sit back as a dad and you kind of
Yep.
like beam when he rode um, Space Mountain as a 7-year-old and loved it and had a blast. And he went on every single. I mean, I was like, I don't know what he's gonna do. Maybe he's gonna go on the Mickey Mouse coaster and hate it, and I'm gonna be sitting around like on the Dumbo thing, going around and around the whole trip. And so we spent the week there and did California Adventure Park a couple days, did Disney a couple days, got him started on the Cars ride, and he really loved that. And then did some more there, and then went to Disneyland, and he was like, "I want to go on a bigger roller coaster, Dad."
Oh boy.
And so we kept working our way up,
Oh
and
boy.
next thing you know, we were on Space Mountain on day 2, and he was loving it. And then I think we spent a day and a half at least in the Star Wars section. Just I could have been all dressed to the hilt and ready to go, and he built a lightsaber, and I bought a lightsaber, and we then battled stormtroopers in the middle of the park with our lightsabers, and we just had a blast. It was good. And my wife sat back and said, "You guys are a bunch of dorks."
So you are you washing down your week with a drink right now?
I am. I am. I went and raided the cabinet, and I pulled out a Santori, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that one. And I pulled this, nah, I'm gonna do this one, and I went back to one of my good old standbys, a little Buffalo Trace.
There you go.
Nothing
Old
fancy.
reliable. Old reliable.
Old reliable.
I
Yep.
did the
Oh,
same thing, but with beer tonight. And I'll bet you can guess this beer is if I just hold it up. It's very
let's
odd.
see. Guinness.
Yeah, yeah. Guinness in a Beatles pint glass. Yeah.
Wait, Guinness is Irish, right? It's an Irish stout.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't.
And
I I used to brew beer years ago a lot. I had like a 25-gallon system in my basement, which is where
oh
the
wow.
sim is at now.
Oh well. Are
The,
you
the,
are you brewing beer in the back of the sim?
no, no,
So
I
at least.
sold a lot of that equipment years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Maybe for another show, I can give you guys my progression of how I went from beer brewing to something else to sim golf. But
To sim golf.
yeah, but the one thing you learn is that the reason that Guinness is what it is because of the water I had to work with. They had very hard water there, so they actually had to brew, and
Oh,
that's how they came up with stouts because that's the only beer they could really brew with the water they had. So
yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
interesting.
So
Yep.
you're saying Pennsylvania water is kind of like Ireland
No,
water,
well,
and
the
that's
thing
what
is
you were.
nowadays because we know about water chemistry, you can adjust, you can make your water into if it's hard, you can soften. If it's
There.
soft, you can make it hard. So you can anybody can make any beer they want. You just have to know what to do to your water, right? Um,
We have a bagel place in town here that make just absolutely fantastic New York bagels. And those of you listening are gonna be like, "There's no way you can get a good New York bagel in Colorado and in Denver." And normally I would say I agree, except these guys are transplants from New York, and they're water chemists.
Yeah.
And they actually have recreated the New York water here. They boil the bagels in, so they're the exact same water that they use up there. And they've got a place there, so they've kind of replicated it here,
Yep.
and they're fantastic. So agreed. Yep.
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 It's all about the water.
What's new with you this week? What's
Um,
new with you? Anything exciting?
Nothing terribly exciting. My wife and I have divided and conquered this weekend. My in-laws usually live in Florida, so they came up. They just bought a new house in Pennsylvania here. So she's up helping them move
Next
in.
door to you?
No, a couple hours away.
Are they right next door? Your in-laws,
No,
right?
no, thank God. They're a couple hours away, but she's helping them move. I got excused from that because my girls are a little older. I got one in college, but the two are home. So one wanted to stay home and go out with friends. She's a teenager, she drives, and the other one wanted to have friends stay overnight. Apparently, there's a show called Outer Banks. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the kids love it,
Yep.
and they are 7 of them are downstairs binge watching for I'm kind of chaperoning tonight. So
Very nice. So it's a perfect night to talk sim golf,
it is.
to drink bourbon and beer,
But I can't play sim
and
golf
hang out.
because that's where my sim is down there where they
That's
are
where
at. Yeah.
And for those of you, our handful of diehard listeners, our 3 or 4 that love the Saturday morning coffee and
Sorry.
B2B, this will
It's
be
gonna
a
be
Sunday
Sunday.
morning B2B. Sorry.
Yeah. You can gag at me drinking my Guinness, right? But
Is it wrong? Is it wrong for me to admit? And like, we need Steve, our producer, to cue up the confessional music. Like, we need some like church organ confessional
and
music.
you know it's not Steve, it's Lenny, isn't it?
Lenny is theirs. I know, but I didn't want to steal theirs.
Oh,
like,
okay.
We need our own producer.
Okay, so Steve is our
Steve would be.
Okay.
Steve's our producer.
I'll have to look for some music, see if I can add that.
We need to add confessional music. So
there you go.
Is it wrong that the entire time I was walking around the Disney park, not like a day, not like an hour, like the whole trip, I was just waiting for someone to walk up and be like, "Hey, you're the B2B guy." And it didn't happen. Not once.
I don't ever anticipate that happening for me. No.
I know. It was worth a shot. Let's talk golf. What do you think?
We got off easy this week with only 4. Well, actually, I would say, well, I don't want to give the mountain
3.
range, and people say 3.5 maybe because of mountain range, but yeah, it's mountain range is unique. We'll talk about it, but we got. Did we ever figure out how to pronounce? Is it Jay Jixer Rod? Is it Jay Roger? I don't know.
I call him JG.
JG. Okay.
I always call him JG.
Jay-Z, like Jay-Z. Is he Beyonce in there too?
Well, I think the IX is Roman numeral. JG5 Rod 3 or JG. What's IX in Roman numerals?
9.
9.
I thought
yeah,
I saw his
9
name
Rod 3.
on Facebook was actually GIXR or something like that, but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Okay, I'm calling him JG.
Sure, that works for me.
Go forth. You are now JG.
And then maybe one of the most non-PC names, Dickie One Eye.
Can't stop laughing. Every time I see Dickie One Eye, I can't stop. It's the best name ever. Like, I feel like I'm my wife would be like, "You're a 13-year-old. Why are you acting like a kid?" I just think it's awesome. I'm just gonna say it right now. I can't say it enough. Hey, it's Dickie One Eye's course. This is his first course. I can't wait for 10 more from him. Then we got 10 Dickie One Eyes. Then is he Dickie 10 Eye if he's got 10 courses?
Oh, God, it's not gonna get older, is it?
It's never gonna get older.
Riverwood National, Magruder.
Magruder. We did this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's always see when I see that. I think that's just his second course, but he's not a newcomer. And then Carl F. So we got some people that are going to get their blue belts like this week, right? So we have to make sure that we reach out.
I feel bad for Carl. I feel bad for Carl right now. Carl is watching this, going, "I got to up my name game."
Right.
Like, it's Carl F. and Dickie One Eye. Like, Carl, you got to elevate the name game a little bit if you're going to go head to head with Dickie One Eye.
He should name it Carl F. Off.
Exactly. I think that's going to be the comment that he leaves.
Yeah.
F off.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this
Okay.
here. Should we actually review some courses? So
I think we
Riverwood,
should. Yeah. Where
right?
are we starting today?
Riverwood by
You want to go full
McGregor.
screen on the?
Did I not go
You
full
want to go
screen?
full screen? Well, I'm still seeing you, and no, we're good. Yep, yep,
Okay.
we're all up. Now
All
it's up.
right. So what do we got? So we got almost 7,000 from the tips on this guy, someplace out in Otsego, Minnesota, right? Oh, Minnesota.
I don't even know where I'd say. I will say Minnesota is high on the list for one of our. We do a guys golf. Most everybody does. We do a guys golf trip every year, and Minnesota is high on the list for us in an upcoming trip. So I don't know where in Minnesota this is, but
Yeah, I think
we need
Minnesota
to
is
look
the
at it.
same place that they have a ski resort out there that is built on top of a garbage dump because there are no mountains in Minnesota, so they built a ski resort on top of like a refuse pile or something. So
So every year it gets higher. They just like keep
yeah,
throwing trash in
I
there and
think
they
I
make it
think they're
higher
done
every
putting
year.
trash on it, but yes. Um, so McGregor, come on, man, put a description here. I want to know about this course, right? Um, a little back history or whatever. So digging into this, so first hole. One thing I played through this, and I played this on my sim, and it looks a lot tighter than it is. When I look at that mini map, I think he spent as much time doing his hazards as he did his splines. There are a lot of hazards, and
there,
it's not,
there is a lot of hazards
yeah.
around here.
Now, most of them are as it lies. So you look out there and you're like, oh shit, right? But if you hit most
Yep.
of these, they're as it lies hazards. So it gives you the opportunity to drop or not drop. No big deal. But it's for me as a new golfer, it felt really tight. I've always felt like I was kind of boxed in a lot. And here you can see you're just hitting into the middle of a neighborhood, right?
Yeah, I
um,
like it. Listen, I played through this. I moused through this one. I did not play this one in the sim. I played one of the others in the sim we'll talk about. And I thought it was a good layout from a golf perspective. I thought the yardages looked really good. I thought it was not like you said. It was there were some tight shots because of all of the hazards that are out there. I did wonder in real life is all of the grass
marked.
always
Is it marked or
marked
is it?
hazard?
Yeah,
Maybe if that's the way it is, cool. Did he think he just needed to mark all deep grass? So I don't know, but
yeah,
it was a good course. I enjoyed playing it.
yeah. Now the one thing, and I think both of us agreed on this, was I felt the one thing that was very distracting for me in the whole course was that kind of halo around the cart paths. I
Yeah,
think he tried to do some sat shader there, but I think it needs to be like greener and match the grass a little bit more, and he needs to do sat shader on the cart path itself to blend it
yeah,
over. So
yeah.
that would be
Agreed,
one
agreed.
recommendation here.
I'm gonna take the tech bud approach. I hate car paths. I just have decided I
Yeah,
hate car paths.
yeah, I
They're
agree.
they're a pain to do, pain to make, pain to get right. You need them on your course though, because people are like, "Wow, this course is on cart path. It's kind of weird," but they're hard. And so, yeah, maybe just lightening up, even just lightening up. If you do a future rev to this one, maybe just lightening up the dark color uh, might help a little bit. So,
Yeah. Now, when I first opened this up and I looked out there, at first I was like, oh, I was like, I think that's one model house, but here it's no problem. And the main reason I thought that was because they're all the same color. And it wasn't a problem on this particular view, but then here later on, I think this might be like 16 or 18 later in the course. These definitely look stamped out and you can tell they're the same model. So my recommendation would be either get like two more models of houses that you could kind of alternate in there, or you had a good idea, Mashy, which was just change the colors of the houses, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easy to go in and just change the shader. You duplicate the shader, and just then you got to
Yeah, make
put
another
some shaders out
prefab
there and
and
just change the color of the. Yep, yep.
yep.
Now the only thing I was thinking through as we, kind of before the show, we're talking about it. This could be a look he was going
Yeah,
for. I
that's
do
the thing
wanna
is
we should acknowledge
maybe
that.
these
There
are
are
like shotgun
those
houses out
neighborhoods,
there.
there are those yeah, and they all look alike. We've all been on those courses, local neighborhood courses. They're good courses, they're fun to play, and the local builder just, kinda pops out all the different houses. That may be the look he is going for. If not, though, and there is some diversity in how in the homes there, you might wanna change it up a little.
Yep. See what else. So I thought that like what he did here to give like this lush and fullness around his
It was
ponds
nice.
was really good. He did a good job with
Yeah.
the. I like the reflection here. There's not a lot of reflections you can see, but I think it works fine for what he's got
Yep.
here. But just so other
Yep.
people know, his secret here though, if you fly underneath, you just drop some trees underneath, which is
Brilliant.
brilliant, perfectly fine. It's easy. You don't have to buy bushes and works just great. The only thing to be aware of is that those are still trees. So from a performance perspective, you're still just because half of it's underground doesn't mean that you pick up half performance, right? It's still there. It's 100% still a tree. So this one thing, because I'm such a bad golfer, I hit into his
You find yourself in here? Did you find yourself a lot in
many
the
times,
in the rough here?
and more than once though, I found that this was just depending where I lied, it was either deep rough or rough. So I would recommend you got all these areas circled as hazards. They should have different splines and they should all be deep rough, in my opinion. So a lot of them ended up just being rough, and I felt like it was very inconsistent from that
Mm.
standpoint. So I'd recommend, you know,
Do you think that do you think it's hard to tell from here, but do you think that, like, for example, the rough we're looking at, sorry, the deep rough we're looking at right here that's marked as rough, do you think that is actually rough that he just planted a biome on top of the rough, or do you think he just missed the physics on it?
I have no idea.
It's hard to
Honestly,
tell.
it's hard to
Yeah,
tell. Yeah, it could be either. But some areas it was deep rough, so maybe after he got out there and started planting stuff, he just decided to put some more grass down in some areas that weren't splined out differently. Um,
could have been.
yep,
Yeah, or could have been just missed it. Yep,
yep.
cool. Good though. Good.
Yeah. So this was, to me, it was a good looking hole. Again, he's got these trees that are, you know, sunk into the ground over here to give it kind of this marshy, swampy look, which I really like. Another idea
Yep.
would be maybe change the water looks very nice and clear and blue. You could always, I think Ram
Mm,
has some swamp options in there. Might be something to consider, you know, to give even more of like a murky look. The one thing I did see on here, there was one set of trees, and you can see them over here that just don't, to me, fit right. And if I
pop.
come over here, these guys, I just felt like they could have been darkened just a tad. I felt like it was a different hue altogether than the rest of the course, or light in
Yeah.
some of the other trees, but not far off by any means. Pretty picky.
Yeah, and don't and you're not saying make them all match. You're just
No,
saying that just pops a little bit. That
too
was a little
much.
too bright, pops out a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There should be differences in the trees, but yeah,
Absolutely.
I
And
agree.
that's where that hue color can come into. If you do that hue right, the trees can all be different kind of, I don't want to call it shades, but they shouldn't all be the same color, but you
Yep,
shouldn't be able to like look at a tree and say, "Whoa, that tree doesn't it stands out too much."
yep.
Um Good looking hole here. I just liked it with
It's
the
good looking.
grasses. Yeah, I just thought it was a really beautiful hole altogether. And this is also where I noticed some of the house. There was like 4 or 5 houses over here to the right. They were obviously all the same model. Um
Yeah, yeah, it was a fun course to mouse through. I thought my initial impression is similar. I thought it was going to be really tight. It's not. It doesn't play nearly as tight as it looks on the
no,
mini map.
no.
But yeah, there's a lot of deep rough hazard out there in the grasses.
And then Wayne Hills
Wayne
by
Hill.
our friend Carl F. Um, so one of the only 5 courses in the state to host all amateur tournaments. So this obviously is a fairly decent, you know,
Yep.
challenging course.
Yep.
Um, so when I
I
first turned
enjoyed
it
this
on,
course, by the way. I loved it. I
yes,
thought this was a fun course to play.
I thought it was a good looking course. So first when I turned it on, one thing I noticed, what I felt at least initially, was that his rough just had a little bit too much green compared to fairways and his greens and his tee boxes. So I would just tone that down maybe a tad. Um,
Agree. I thought his colors here on the tee box and in the fairway. I loved the kind of muted green in the
yep,
fairway and the tee box. And I thought Carl, if you are listening and you do end up revising this at all, use that as your starting point and blend off of that out, because I thought that was a beautiful color in the fairway and in
yeah,
the tee box here,
it's very
and
natural.
then you'll get a little less green off onto your rough and your edges there where it's a little bit too bright for
Yep.
me.
Yep. But this is a nice first hole, like the willow down here at the end. It's kind of an interesting spot as far as to make this a little bit challenging as far as the hole goes. Um,
Well, go back. Go back. You do my impression. What's my impression?
oh, the trees. Yeah, the leaning nature manufacturer trees there. Yeah, they got a little gravity
Yeah,
pull to them.
yeah. Check
These
on
guys
those,
here.
Carl. Think, think if I remember correctly, those might be nature manufacturer conifers that are not backported. And if you drop in the non-backported nature manufacturer prefabs, the um the backported ones that Stinger Eye put out there. So just double check on that.
Yep. Clubhouse, which looks really
Cool.
good. Liked how you put all the golf carts out there, put different colors. Um,
Yep.
I think this was like off the back of 18. The trees, I think, look really good here in the background.
Yep.
Um, this was 14. Um, one thing I did see was this one or two of these. They look like the size of like maples, these red trees. I'd be curious, like, is that something that's famous
Yeah.
to the course? Like in this picture, I just feel like this looks like a natural level of orange. Now I know there's such a thing as a red maple, and actually I've been designing one because I need one for my current course. But they're more of like a
Eh,
maroony than a red or an
right.
orange. So, and this could be that it's billboarded too way back there, but it seems to me I wanted to I zoomed into that because what is that? It's got to be a mistake, right? But it's a tree. So maybe it's something that is specific to this course that there's a famous red tree out there, right?
Yeah, listen, it's cool. My hope is it's natural to the course and it's like what they use to target to line up. Like,
Yeah,
hey, aim at the red tree out there,
yeah,
right? Like, I hope so. I think it'd be great. I think it's awesome. I think I counted, like you said, two or three of them on that course. Even with it being red, you may want to tone it down. It almost looks like it's on fire from
yeah,
here. Like it's a pretty bright tree out there.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Now I did struggle on this. So this is my design PC, and I was well under 30 frames per second on my 2060. When I test, I like to be above 30. So I don't know if you struggled. And I don't know what it is. I felt like maybe he had pushed his Lod Zero, his highest level detail trees, really far out. Because when I look at this, especially like this tree here, which is about
Yep.
100 yards away, and even these here, they look like they're still almost like Lod
They
Zero or
look
Lod
like lot
1.
zero still on those trees pretty far out. I agree.
And then maybe it billboards really fast, or I'm not sure, but it's just I'm not sure performance wise. I struggled just a tad.
I didn't have I moused through this one on my design PC, which is running a 4090 Ti. And so I didn't have any performance issues with it, but it was lower than it should be for a 4090 Ti.
Okay. And then just billboards. Now I did.
Billboards,
And this course, this course is fairly tight, and you don't really see the billboards when you're down on course. But if you do a
yeah.
flyover, you will. And as soon as if I go up in there and I look down, I can see exactly where the billboards begin. Then I feel like it's the billboards need a little bit of work, and you can see that blue line here. That these trees down here and then the trees up here are just definitely look different, right? So
Billboards, billboards, billboards.
yeah,
Always check your
I got
billboards.
to do a better video on billboards. and
Hmm.
and then Gower. So the funny thing about this course is not really funny, but I loaded up to play this one in the sim and had no
Hmm.
idea where it was. And at least when I loaded it up, I said, "This looks like a UK based course." So he got
Mm,
that right away.
he got that right.
He
Yeah.
nailed it.
Okay.
Yep. So I just felt like it had like the hilly, short UK feel to it. Now he must have
Yeah.
done something in
Agreed.
post processing because there's a warm hue to this course that I
There
could
is.
not get rid of, and I shouldn't say get rid of. When I tried to adjust my advanced lighting, there was a hue to this course I could not get rid of. Um,
Hmm.
it's not bad by any means. It's a little bit of like a mustard warmness to it. And then I looked over here, and I can't remember what I was doing. I can't remember if this performed well or not. Uh,
Uh, you had performance issues on this course.
On this one too.
I didn't I
Okay.
did not. I played all 18 in the sim today, as a matter of fact, on this
Okay.
course. But I'm in my sim PC, it's running a 3090 Ti.
Okay.
And I did not have any performance issues like stuttering or anything like that. But it was still running in the 35, 40
Which
frames a
is low
second, which
for a
is really
3090.
low for that card.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And I felt like looking at it, I felt like he had a lot of dense vegetation in here. I think his 3DG looks dense. I think the trees here on the left look really dense. And I was just going to say they
Yep.
even look double planted for some reason.
They almost look double plant. You know what's funny is I didn't even pick that up until just pull that screenshot up. I was like, if you look at those trunks, they almost look double planted.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's something that I did with my screenshot, but looking at that, um, but I love the look of this. I mean, it's
Ah,
beautiful, right? Um, this was, I think that's a wrong screen capture right here. That's actually a
that's
screen
not
capture.
the right
That's
one.
not the right course.
Yep.
So skip over that. I love the grasses. Okay.
Yep.
For a first course, and this is just, I think these grasses are some of the best I've seen. I want to be able to do grasses like this. I
Yep.
just like the blend of the flowers. There's just enough wildflowers in here. The trees. I do like how well he combined overall the coloring, the post processing to give us just a consistent feel and theme to the whole
Yep.
course, which made it feel like I was in the UK playing. Again, I
Agree.
think I struggled. Oh, it's not. I think what was that? 14 frames per second, maybe. It's on the
This
bottom
was
of.
14. Yeah, yours was 14 on this one. Yep, which
Yeah,
is really
that's
low.
really low. The billboards.
And if you go back,
Yeah, go
if you
ahead.
go back for one sec, he also did a really, really great job with varying the different heights of the grass and the
Yes.
different hues because you can see like there's some darker patches and some lighter patches. It looks very natural. I
Yeah.
love the way this looks. He did
Yeah.
such a good job on it. It just maybe overplanted a bit for performance issues.
Yeah. He could probably maybe even take the same grass. I think we talked about this last week. That light grass that you see here, plant it twice, but have one
Yep,
of the versions call out very easy, like early. That way, the stuff that's back where my mouse is right now would look really thin. From this angle, it would
yep,
still look full, but there's not as much of it. It would help you with performance. I think his
agreed. 100%.
3DG here looks like he thinned it out. He made it thin and very
Mate,
dense.
Paul.
And keep in mind, thin is the same performance. You can take the same blade of grass, you make it thin, it doesn't help you with performance. Thicker doesn't hurt performance, but more grass kills you. But it looks
Correct.
really dense here, which could be part of the problem with performance. Um, his billboards were off too. So you can see there was definitely like a line here that I'm showing, but it almost seems like he's got this other biome around the perimeter, especially right here, that was just completely off from some of the other trees too. These aren't billboards, but you can see they're different from these trees. So I don't know if that's a different biome with different trees. Um, Again, you
Right.
didn't see it too much on course, except for flyovers. You see that pop.
Well, and then we were talking before the show. That whole section of trees, I don't even think you can see from the course.
No, it's not
You
even
may
on a
not
hole
even need. It's not even on a hole. All the holes are north. Essentially, all of the holes,
or back
with the
up
exception
here.
of the one green on the left, are north of the blue line.
Yeah,
So you may be hurting your performance a little bit just by having all those trees planted there that you may not need. You may just need a small sliver of them planted going from east to west along that open area. But anyway, that one thing to think about that may help you with some of the performance on that one.
yep. And just another good looking hole here. I mean, I just like the fair light line here, but you can start to see that the trees farther down, how the billboards start get a little off in light.
I have a couple of golf suggestions on this one, since I did play this. If we want to cover some of those on this course, particular.
Yeah. What were they?
So first off, had a fun time playing this course. I enjoyed it. Little short, little 6,400 yards. Love that. No problem there. Driver short into the. Nothing wrong with driver short iron into the green, right? Driver wedge, driver
Yeah.
sand wedge, driver 60-degree into the green. That's always a fun thing to play. There were a couple holes. You might have a screenshot of one. There were a couple holes where there are some trees.
Here we go.
This one, yeah, exactly. Like This par three from the
I
whites,
want to see a
you can
picture of
play,
this
which I
hole in real
did. You can
life.
play
I
a
want to see a picture of
cut.
this in real life, right?
Exactly. Because you could play a cut into that gap and have a cut drop onto the pin, which is what I did, and I dropped in and made birdie, which is great. But if you're on that forward tee box, you're blocked out. If I were you, I
Yeah.
would move those two trees off to the right, maybe 15 feet or so, and just give everybody on the tee box a chance to actually get on the green without having to play a draw or a cut. Just as golf suggestion as a sim golfer, something good to think about. On 14, something to think about on 14, or a potential problem on 14 for you to look at. And we don't have it in a screenshot, so I'm just because I did this right
Yep.
before we came up here. On 14, it's a dog leg left with a tree kind of on the left side fairway, and if you play a draw off of the tee shot, I immediately hit some collider in the air and the ball bounced back to the tee box. If I played it out to the right, if I aimed out to the right with a bigger draw, or I moved my ball to the right of the tee box and played up the right side of the fairway, it got through fine. So there is something blocking the left half of the tee box from the white tees on 14 that is making the course hard to play, or almost impossible to play from that shot. So you may want to look at that. And there's a way in Unity to look at physics, to see whether to look at the physics and colliders to see whether maybe there's a collider blocking it there or something. So just note on that one, maybe something you want to look at.
Yeah. These trees in the middle, where do you recognize those at all? Some of these like big, are they
I
NM?
don't.
Yeah, I wonder where he got
I,
those.
I trees that look that good tend to be NM.
Yeah.
That's my experience. I don't recognize them from the mountain pack
No, because the mountain pack
or
are
the
all
or the meadow
conifers.
pack. Yeah, or the meadow pack. So I'm not sure. I wonder if he backported something, but I don't know. I
Yep,
don't. They look really good.
they do look really good. Um, and yet
Um,
he did put
Dicky.
these pine paths in there, which I love that detail. First of all, two things I love: the pine
Yeah,
paths here, the fence in the middle of the woods on the right is just to me
yeah,
a really nice touch. Um, I think the pine path would look a tad better with it. It'll look a lot better in V4. It's just
yeah,
we got some hard
for sure.
lines there, and I'm not sure how to get rid of those really well with Sat Shader at this point.
Dicky, if you want to share, if you're willing to share that tree pack,
Yeah,
there's two people right here that will take them.
yeah, yeah. And then the 3.5 course is the half course. I don't like to call it because it diminishes the effort here, and I
Yeah,
like this, and
yeah,
which is the mountain range. Now, if you don't know what the mountain range, so this is you load it up in practice mode. Um, and I have this up here because if you go into the holes, you can see that hole number one, the default hole is 320 yards. That's just like a normal driving range. But then you can skip around to all the other holes in here and just do some practice. So if you go to hole two, it's 20, then three is 30, all the way up to, 200 yards. And it's
I
pretty
love
simple
this so
concept.
much.
Yeah, I just, it's funny because people on Facebook and the SGT Discord say, "Oh, I'm tired of the regular old range," and people said, "All right, I'll build a range then." And I think there's some other ones in the
Yeah,
pipeline too. But here's like this is just the default range view. He's got some flag markers out there, and normally we pick apart people's billboards. This case, I'm going to compliment him, right? So
they
here
look great.
I flew out, and when I look down here, now you see the perimeter here, and you can say, oh, there's his billboard line right here. No, it's not. All right. So he set up a different biome out there, and those are completely different trees. But the thing is, if I go back here, they match, right? So here's the
Yep.
trees that aren't billboarded, and then he's got the other biome out here. They actually match really well. Okay. Um, Here is actually the billboard line. So my mouse here and over here, and honestly, that's about as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah,
It
it's really
doesn't
good.
yeah, it's good. He spent some time adjusting those, so well done there. And I also just want to back up. You can give an idea of what this looks like. So all the T's are right here in the middle, and then as you select the different holes, you're just turning around and hitting to different greens, and all the greens are flat, so you can putt on them. So awesome stuff.
It's great. I love this so much. It sparks. I've had an interesting debate with a buddy of mine. And I think he and I, this, I don't know why I'm going to go. Okay, Lenny, Steve, cue up the like reflection music. um, it's this ongoing debate that we have about whether or not sim golf is real, for lack of a better word. Okay, and what I mean by that is he loves it. My buddy loves it, loves to play. He uses GSPro, all that good stuff, right? But he looks at it and says, "This is a video game where I swing a golf club." And he's like, his whole philosophy is, it keeps the rust off my swing, but this is really just a video game where I'm swinging a golf club. My philosophy is, this is a tool to assist with my golf game. I use it like a tool. I act like it's a tool. I don't treat it like a video game. I
You
treat it
act
like
like a
it's
tool.
I act like a tool, exactly. And I use it. I practice, and so I practice these kind of shots, going and loading up a range and wanting to hit a 20-yard shot, using the practice
Yeah.
load, then I hit a 30-yard shot, then a 40-yard shot, and practicing with all four of my wedges, practicing a quarter swing, a half swing, a three-quarter swing, and know what my distances are on all four of my wedges, right? And so I love this so much because this goes to the tool aspect of GSPro, not the video game.
Well, I had a discussion with one of my buddies the other day, and the discussion was, "Hey, when you go to the driving range, what do you hit?" And he's like, "Well, I hit my driver, my wedges, you know." I said, "What about your short game? Do you ever hit any 20 yarders?" He's like, "No, it's like a waste of balls, right?" You could do that in the sim, right? That's like, because you don't feel like you're wasting them. You can just sit there and clock away at 25, 20 yarders,
Yep,
do a flop, do a bump and run. You don't do that at the range, right?
yep,
There's no place
agree.
you can really do that, but you can do it in sim
Yeah,
golf.
yep. I
So
love this. Good
yep.
job. Good job, JD.
So your must play of the week.
It's interesting. Only really three courses. I'm not going to choose the mountain range for as the
Yeah,
must play. Sorry, JD.
that's
I know
that's
you
my
want the
must.
mountain
That's
courses. They're
my must range of the week, right?
my must range of the week. Exactly.
It's my warm up of
I'm
the week.
going. I'm going with Gower.
Ah,
Um,
yep.
I again played all three courses. Enjoyed that one the most. Felt like you. I felt like I love the post processing he did. I love the look and feel of the course. I didn't have performance issues, but I'm like over rotated on my sim stuff anyway, so I generally don't have performance issues. That's why my courses that I build suck on other people's low end machines because I don't have a low end machine to test it on. I build to a 3090. So
Yeah.
um so my courses only run on like 5% of the machines that are out there, I guess, or something like that. But no, I thought it was fun. It was a good course. It was not overly long, but I just really enjoyed it. And so I shot 18 and shot one under. So that's my course of the week.
Yep. I agree. That was my choice as well. I just like the look and feel of it. The fact that
Yep.
I loaded it up and immediately knew it was a UK course without knowing it was a UK course says a lot.
Yep.
Um,
Oh,
I also just for me as a new golfer, I like that it was a little bit not overly challenging. It was somewhat forgiving. Um,
yeah.
so from that perspective,
Yeah.
yeah, yep,
I will say, this is one of the first weeks since we've started the show that we don't have a run pud run course, a tech bud course, a
right.
Pac-Man course. Like we don't have the big
Well,
guys
I have a
this
feeling
week at all.
maybe
So
there's a bunch queued up because I don't think there's been a new course in the past few days. So, and did you know that there
mm,
are, I think John posted someplace, there's either, I can't remember the number, it's either 30 or 50 courses in beta right now.
there are there are way too many courses in beta. Sorry, not too many. You can never have too many beta
Yeah,
courses. There are so many courses in beta. We need help. Let's
yeah,
put it that way.
yeah. Um, it's a good problem to have, but it is a problem that we're not able to do enough testing on those to get them into SGT sooner. Unfortunately, I feel like we're being spread very thin.
Yeah. Yeah, we should chat about that.
Yep. Um, the one thing I will say, if you guys are listening to this, when you submit your course to beta, put some screenshots in there because when I go
Yep.
into the beta forum, which it is now, and I scroll down through there, the ones with pictures, they actually show the pictures in the preview. So if I see
Yep.
something that looks interesting and good, I'm more likely to shoot through that than something that has no pictures whatsoever. So just do a couple screenshots. It'll help people play your course.
When I submitted Kohana Iki about 2 weeks ago, I took your advice and I put screenshots in there, and we've had a good, healthy discussion on my issues and challenges in building a golf course.
Nice. Very good.
Who would have thought having 580,000 individual lava rocks, each with their own mesh collider, would cause even the beefiest of CPUs to come to a crawl?
Yep.
I didn't know it would happen.
Yep.
So,
That's a lot of
yep,
lava rocks.
that's a lot of lava rock.
So I'm guessing at this point it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show this week because we only had 4 courses.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
so I guess we'll sign off and see everybody next week, right?
We'll see everybody next week. Thank you all. Get your courses submitted into the beta forum, and then we'll see you here next week, my friend.
All right. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.